When I first became serious about writing a novel, I decided to look up what famous authors do. By far the most common practice: write every day with daily goals. Okay, cool, I thought. I'll be like Stephen King and write 2,000 words every day. That's how I'll get it done. And I think the first day I sat down and write Buried Vapors, I actually came out with over 3,000 words and I was pretty ecstatic. I thought, man, I can do this thing faster than Stephen King. The next day, 2,500, still pretty good. But then after a while, I found myself up at 11:55 p.m. trying to squeeze out those last few words to hit 2,000 before the day ended. Then all of a sudden, the wheels fell off. It went from 1,500 to 1,000 to 500. And okay, well, Ernest Hemingway only wrote 500 words a day. That isn't that bad. But then, at some point in the middle of a lazy day, I sat up and realized I hadn't written a single word in the last 2 weeks. Not one, not even a single letter. Of course, this brought about a panicked counter-reaction where I tried to hammer out 2,000 daily words, barely succeeded, then quickly fell back down to 0. I decided I'd simplify. I'll go to 500 words a day just to start setting a habit, but that still wasn't enough. I found myself quickly falling back to 0. The whole process created a sort of panic. Did I just not want enough? Maybe I was too lazy, too undisciplined, or maybe just a bad writer. I don't know. Some of those may have been true. Some may still be true. I just knew what I was doing wasn't working. Feeling fairly dejected, I went to the gym. I'd gone from a bench press of 115 pounds a year ago to 185 pounds then. Still not a lot, but approaching respectability. While I was sweating, getting aggravated, and trying to get the Olympic bar not to crush me, I thought about my book, my writing. What enabled these writers to write at such volumes? Well, A, they had practice, and B, they were highly motivated. I had a little of each, but clearly not enough of either. When I finished the set, I realized my consistent work at the gym was paying off. I felt good, strong. This was months after miserable discipline and effort. And honestly, I kind of hate going to the gym, but somehow I still end up making the trek. It drove the question, how can I reach a similar setup with my writing? I realized then that the problem I was having with my writing was lack of incentive. Outside of the joy of writing, which I think is a debatable joy, any positive incentive from writing comes way, way down the line. It can take years to finish a book. Working out, on the other hand, feels pretty good pretty quick. You get stronger and you feel healthier, and that can come in a few weeks or sometimes even quicker. So how could I create this positive incentive for writing? Well, I could give myself candy every time I hit 2,000 words, but I didn't want to rely on treats to get myself to write. Instead, after more thinking, I realized what I needed was a negative incentive. My strength gains weren't really what were driving me to the gym. It was the fear of losing them. Not going to the gym was scarier than going. I understood then, in order to train my writing stamina, I needed punishment if I didn't write enough. And that's how I came up with the concept of word debt. Now, I'm sure word debt is not a new concept globally. Some others must be doing it, but it was new to me and it truly changed everything. The practice is very simple. Every day, you don't hit a necessary daily word count. The difference goes into a word debt that must be cleared out before you finish the book. That's it. Here's an example. You're in the middle of writing a book, and your daily writing goal is 500 words. Well, things have been slowing down, and for 2 days, you only write 177 and 320 words respectively. The difference of these days, 323 and 180, would go into your word debt, a debt you must clear out before you finish the novel. Then the next day, your hands are on fire and you write 1,223 words. Great. Now the excess 723 words goes to clearing out your debt. A note with this system, there's no surplus of words, just word debt. So if you write 1,000 words with a daily goal of 500 and you have 0 word debt, all those extra words are bonus. If you find yourself consistently writing with 0 debt, I'd recommend to push yourself and increase your daily word goal. Always having 0 word debt probably means you're not pushing your writing stamina hard enough. So why do I think this works, and how is it any different than just writing 500 words a day? I believe there's something quietly powerful about a big scary number staring at you that helps you write. After I implemented this methodology, I found myself writing consistently because I didn't want my debt to pile up. Here's some other subtle advantages to this system. 1. Word debt encourages stamina progression. Just like strength training, you can steadily increase your load to grow your capabilities. See, with my first book, I did a safe 500 daily words. Now with my second book, I'm aiming for 750 words a day. I'll keep pushing this number up until I see I can't reliably clear my word debt by the time I reach the end of my novel. I'd recommend, if you can't clear the word debt by the end of writing your book, or if it starts stacking up to 12,000 plus words, to slightly lower the daily goal, clear out the debt, and wait until you're confident to raise it again. Number 2, word debt offers a more reasonable expectation for a newer writer. As much as I'd like to be Stephen King and drill out 2,000 words a day, clearly I can't. I'm just not that disciplined. This system still creates progression even when there's days you fail. You only write 200 words, 0 words, well, you'll go into the word debt, and then you'll need to do just a little extra work the next day, or another day. That lost day of productivity doesn't just disappear into the ether, it's accounted for and tracked and must be recouped. Number 3, word debt naturally flexes to the difficulty progression most writers find when writing a story. When writing a novel, the beginning is usually easier because it's still exciting, and the end is usually easier because it's a race to the end. But the middle is eternal. The middle build of a story is slow and difficult to write, almost culminating into a panic of how far you have to go. However, when things are slowing down, that's also when word debt tends to build up. As the work slows, word debt grows, creating a smooth counterpressure that pushes the writer to get the job done exactly when they need it most. And number 4, word debt helps the writer keep the work in mind. Having to update the word debt counter every night becomes a sort of ritual, ensuring you're aware of the work that needs to be done. So obviously I like this system. I found it greatly helped me get my first draft done, just get the story out there. However, after I finished my first draft and started editing, it began to break down. By then, I didn't want to add words typically. I wanted to get rid of them. How would I use word debt then? Well, at first I thought I couldn't, and my process quickly started falling apart again. I found myself taking breaks and missing editing days, but luckily, I quickly realized I was slipping into the bad practices I had before. I couldn't allow myself to fall in the same trap, so I needed to create a similar incentive system for editing. Fortunately, the answer was simple: a modified version of word debt. Instead of word debt, I transitioned to scene debt, where I needed to edit a scene a day, and if I didn't, that scene went to my edit scene debt. I started out with one scene needing to be edited a day, and as the book got closer to finalization and scenes became easier to edit, I increased this number to 2, 3, 5 to 10. It's the exact same method as with daily words, now just with daily editing scenes. Every writer works in a different way. Some may find word debt creates anxiety and is more of an annoyance than a tool. However, for those who've tried everything, I'd recommend to give it a shot. It acts as a sort of comfortable set of training wheels, keeping you accountable and disciplined, even if you miss a day or two. But most importantly, find whatever keeps you writing and do that. Good luck.